Your examination will be presentation that I have already shared with you, that there will be a case study that you will have to solve, and then there would be a presentation that you'll have to give.
Okay. Then we have to give it one by one, or like a case study, all we have done and then
Case study, everybody will have to do on their own.
okay.
That would be majorly writing part. And then presentation would be about individuals, obviously.
Ma'am, can you tell us something about how do we sell ourselves? Like what sort of things are we in general? What are the things that we are supposed to speak?
We will do that today. We will do that today. That's part of the topic.
Could we name it something else, ma'am? It sounds really awkward that how to sell yourself.
Why? Why it is so awkward? Tell
I
me,
don't
what
know,
is awkward about it?
I am feeling like how to sell yourself.
Acha, who is your role model? Tell me that. Any personality. Yeah, any personality, anybody who is your role model.
Right now, you, ma'am.
Okay, chalo, maan liya. ठीक है, I am your role model, right? So role model means what? What do you like in me?
Ma'am, the way that you have, you are doing everything that you achieved your goals, and that like as I searched something about like human rhythms, you have started your own. You are the founder and CEO of your company, and so all these things like really inspired me that I should do something.
Okay. Like okay, great. So how did you get to know about all these things?
Like after talking to you, ma'am, and when attending these sessions,
right.
some of the things that I searched from networking.
Correct. So you searched on network, and most of the things I also shared in the classes, right?
Yes.
So what I did basically was to tell you my stories, right? By giving examples, maybe using some in examples, by using some in real life case studies, by sharing some of the important, anecdotes that I have faced in my lifetime, and I wanted to share it with you, professional, personal, all, right? But who shared it all with you? Majority of the time, it was me. So what I was doing when I was sharing all these things with you guys, I was selling myself, right? My stories through the process of sharing stories. And that is what happens, when you are given a chance that you have to when we say that you have to sell yourself, in the sense that you have to share your experiences with people, right? What your professional journey or what your personal journey has been. So for example, let's take another example of a larger celebrity that everybody is aware about, right? So maybe let's talk about Kiran Bedi. So why Kiran Bedi became so famous? Right? She became famous because she became the first woman IPS. Though she was not the first woman IPS, there was some other lady who was the first IPS, but she became famous because she did something right. She actually did something on that platform where everybody else was not working, not ready to work at that point in time. Right? Especially during that time when there were not too many IPS officers as women were there. Right? So she became a personality who did something different, away from the path that generally normally other women actually follows, and that is the reason she became role model for so many people, right? But how she started her own marketing? She started her own marketing by sharing those experiences. She started sharing her prejudices, the bias she had faced in the police departments, different kind of pictures or different kind of cases that she handled, and what are the difficulties she faced. So what was she sharing? Why was she sharing all these details with general public? Purely because she wanted to sell herself. And sell herself does not mean that somebody is actually planning to sell their own identity, but they are planning to share certain things, certain stories, so that it can inspire other people. After that, so many women wanted to be an IPS officer.
Yes.
Right? So that was the reason why she wanted to share, so that she could actually create a new path, new wave for the other people to follow her in that thing. And when we follow somebody, we say that, somebody is our role model. It's not that we want to follow that person step by step, everything that the person has done. We always believe that, this person has done something totally different, something very inspiring, So that person has inspired us to form a path, to form a way where we can actually follow them in their journey, right? And create our own journey. So that is the reason why I tell you that when you have to give a presentation. So another example of this is that suppose you are going for an interview, right? What do we do in the interview?
Yeah, we are going to sell ourselves.
Correct. So it's like, suppose you are a salesperson now today, right? Just imagine yourself being a salesperson, and suppose as a salesperson, I give you whatever you have right now in front of you. You have a pen or pencil in front of you.
Yes, ma'am.
Take that pen. Right now, sell this pen to all of us. Who's there? How will you sell this pen to us?
Hello, everyone. To all of you, ma'am. Not
Yeah,
about-
to all of us. Yeah. Suppose we all are in the panel.
Okay. Hello, everyone. So today I am here to sell this pen because this is a very special one. If you are going to take it in your interview, it will be your writing will be flawless. You will in examination you will like writing will be flawless, and it will make you have to do examination better and in within your time period.
Mhm.
And if you are like
Yeah, carry on. It's okay. I'm not making it difficult. Otherwise, when I tell this to somebody in interview, I make their life very difficult in selling the pen.
okay.
Right? So see, selling a pen is like it's a product that is there in front of you. So what are you sharing about that particular product? You might share about the benefits, the characteristics first, right? That what this pen is actually consist of. So what are the characteristics? It is a ball pen or a gel pen or pilot pen, whatever it is. What kind of ink it has, how it writes. It's a smooth writing or for sketching, for whatever purpose is it. You will tell them. Then you will come to the benefits of the pen. Right? That's how you do it. So similar things we do with ourselves. When we go and appear for an interview, what are the kind of things that we generally tell? So what is the first question an interview asks us, even though they have seen our resume? Mostly the first question is give your introduction or introduce yourself or tell me about yourself. So these are the questions. So tell me about yourself or introduce yourself is what? So they want to know you as a person. They want to know you how as a professional or as a personal person in your personal life. How are you going to, how the company is actually going to benefit from your presence, right? So selling yourself is basically talking about self in a manner that the other person gets impressed. And creating an impression is not really an easy task because speaking wise or communication wise, you can share different kind of things about you. But what happens in practical is would be totally different. Then there would be always a conflict between all these things, right? So try and create the impression on the basis of what you already know. That means your ask. Ask is your ability, skills, and knowledge. So we always have to keep that in mind, right? These three things that you have, that you are consist of, should be the highlight of your interview when you're talking about yourself, right? And every time when we are actually selling ourselves or giving interview or talking about self, it should not sound as a boasting, right? It should sound as that you are really, really a genuine person and you're really concerned about the organization, and with your presence in the organization, the company is going to get benefits. Correct? That's about the interview. Other than that, there are so many other places also where we sell ourselves. See, even in kitty parties, if you go, what we do, we generally keep talking about self, right? Everywhere, even in parties you go, you family events, social gatherings, generally what people do, generally if even if they are talking about third person, first they start with कि हमारे यहाँ ऐसा नहीं होता, उनके यहाँ ऐसा हो रहा है. So somewhere if you relate the entire story, it's always about us that we keep talking about. Everybody, every human beings loves that, right? So there is nothing to shy away from talking about self, but it should be genuine, right? Whatever you have done, whatever the work or efforts you have done, imagine now we are sitting in India, right? In totally different parts of India. Somebody is from Odisha, somebody is sitting in Banaras, somebody is in a village, like Rupesh says that he joins his classes from village. Now all of us are gathered together for these classes, and imagine if there was no internet. If Elon Musk may not have been sharing his stories on internet, How would we get to know about Elon Musk, who Elon Musk is, or who Ambani is, or who Bill Gates would be? Right? How would you get to know about these people? Would you ever get to know about these people? Difficult. Till the time they would not have been sharing the stories about their success and their failures. And it's not just that they have been talking or boasting about the successes that they have followed, they are talking about their failures also, the mistakes they have done, the kind of routine that they follow. They share all those things. And we become much more interested in their lifestyle purely because we see that they have become successful in the area that they have followed. Right? So if I want to follow a path where I want to become a multi-billionaire, so I might start following these people to the Z so that I start becoming the millionaire. Right? Totally depending what your goal is, what do you want from your life, who would be the right role model for you, and then you start following, taking inspiration from them. Right? So the core of the entire discussion is that till the time people will not share their stories, their anecdotes, their failures, their success, the path that they are following, all those details about them. Now, it would be very difficult for the entire generation or generations to come to know about them. Right? So that is what selling yourself is all about.
Okay.
Right? So now, as a part of the interview, we have been talking about communication skills, how group discussion actually helps, or interview kaise dena hai, all these things we have spoken about. So I want to today touch upon a very important topic, which is really very favorite of mine also. We call it storytelling as a part of giving interviews, or storytelling as a communication tool. Right? So, like I shared, I think I have already shared with you that most of the favorite question of mine when I take interview is, so I want to know from people what is their story. Right? So, what your story is basically about, again, the same things: your success, your failures, what you are as a person, what you have done in your life, what makes you you. Right? So, that's what it is. So, let me just share the presentation and then we will come back to writing the stories or talking about the story in detail. Okay, so what is storytelling? Tell me. According to you, what do you believe that what storytelling is all about?
Storytelling is basically narration of maybe a fact, but according to the imagination of the person who is telling the story. He could be telling a concept or an idea or a moral, and I think that storytelling is a integral part of growing up.
Correct. So I'm sure every one of you must have heard about Nani's stories or Dadi Ji ki stories, different kind of stories that they tell us. So what do they tell us in their stories?
Ma'am, stories, I think, are of two types. Sometimes based on real life stories, and sometimes it's like based on the imagination of the person who is telling the story.
Correct.
So when my dada used to tell us stories, sometimes there are like they belongs to some like Raja Maharaja and Mahal and all these stories. And sometimes his real life experience she used to share with us in a form of the story.
Right. But what is the moral of the story generally? What used to be the moral of the stories? When somebody tell a story, especially the Nani Dadis wala stories, what was the main reason or the motivation behind those stories?
Yeah, the moral value situation, ma'am, always.
Correct. Right? So they wanted to give us certain values. So that instilling values wala portion was coming from these stories largely. Right? That was the major purpose of them sharing the stories. Right? Anything else that you would like to share about stories in your lives? If somebody has told you some stories.
I think storytelling also helps in developing the imagination of the child, and it's like now we have visual media. Otherwise, like when you are telling stories, the stories can be interpreted by the person who is receiving it in different based on his creativity, and that I feel helps in developing creativity quite a lot.
Yeah.
Like even like motivating and also like not to, like if there are any failures, try to understand the failures and not to repeat the similar failure like what others have done, like through their stories.
Sorry, I couldn't hear you properly. Satyanarayana
From
ji,
the
yeah.
storytelling, ma'am, I think we understood,
Yeah, ma'am.
we understand more in comparison to another thing.
Okay.
Like
Yeah.
taking motivation.
Because
Ma'am, to knowing
and
about the
ma'am,
things that which we have not witnessed.
From
So
the
our elders
stories
used to
and
tell
understand.
us all those things in the form of stories.
Sorry, let's go one by one. There are too many confusion, too many people speaking at once. Yeah. Okay. So what Satyanarayana ji was saying, let's finish his, then we'll come to Gulshan and Needu. Yeah.
Yeah, ma'am. It is like the motivation, like it becomes like a motivational thing, like whatever like experience we have gone through, so that if it is a good one, let the people learn the good things. If it is a bad experience, let the other people not follow the same thing,
Correct.
and yeah, move it into the right direction, so they learn the good and bad things, so that they can go into right direction. That will
Absolutely.
one of the thing helps.
Very true. So there is a motivation or motto behind, when we are sharing your stories. Either it can be a story about success, so you can learn from their success mantras. It can be about failure, so that you don't follow that path of failure. So good one. Yeah. All right, Gulshan. So what you were saying, let's come to you.
actually, ma'am, we learn from the because we have not too much time to do all type of mistake, because we have the limited time. That's why whenever we read a story, then we understand more. And
Mm-hmm.
suppose that, ma'am, whenever any director compose a movie, and movie is also just like a story, because whenever we watch,
Absolutely.
then we understand more in comparison to anything, you can say, ma'am.
Hmm.
And ma'am,
Right.
those who are best public speaker, they have the good storytelling, you can say,
Ability.
ideas, I think.
Right.
Yeah,
Good. Okay.
they
Yes,
compose
Vikas.
everything in a very well manner.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's life, there is a failure and a success. So
Mhm.
we can start from our failures and we can gradually tell them that how we get the success in our life.
Absolutely. Good point. Yeah. Very nice. Yes, Needu. You were saying something that time?
Ma'am, stories are like every time the things about knowing about the things which we have not witnessed. So, like through these stories, our elders used to tell us about the ancient time and ancient period, and about all these things which we have not witnessed or they have witnessed.
Right. So see, the idea behind storytelling is that, it is basically a concept where you are sharing something with your audience. Something with your audience means can be the experiences that you have gone through, anything that you imagine, anything that you have heard, or you have, get to know from somebody else, or maybe talking about new ideas, concepts, thought process completely. Right. So how do we relate storytelling with interviews now? What do you think you can actually do really good, which which can become a real, totally different experience when we are in an interview?
Like link the story to like all the concept or whatever learnings we have done, or
Mm-hmm.
the tools, skills what we have done.
Mm-hmm.
We can link our story to this kind of tools and our experience, how we handle the situation,
Absolutely.
negative,
Yes.
positive, both the situations
Both
we
the
can,
situation.
and come out with a really positive side, and really which has helped the organization to develop it. Something we can go in that direction.
Perfect. Yeah, very good. Anybody else who would like to share? You can raise your hand so that I see. Yeah, and I can say. Because what happens then, otherwise everybody starts talking at same point. Yeah, Veena.
Storytelling is about, any story will have one powerful character or several characters which are quite impressive, maybe good or maybe bad. But here we are talking about, when we are telling our story, we are talking about the character that is that is me or I.
Correct.
So that also helps us to bring out the positive aspects of it. And even, how we have, what do you say, learned from setbacks, or how we are able to rise up, like all those things brings out, our coping skills and adaptability and all those things. I'm talking about a character called me. I think that's
Absolutely. Yeah. Very good. Yes, Neeru.
Ma'am, it is like to telling, like I am telling you my story, then it should be like that, how tough time I faced and how I overcome from that type of situations.
Yes, true.
And like how we change that negative thoughts or negative situation in a positive one.
Absolutely. Right. So see, again, coming back to the same thing, that we are talking about me in the story. So if we are talking about storytelling in an interview, it is all about selling me or talking about myself. But how can you actually talk about yourself if you won't know about yourself properly? So are you aware about all your abilities? Are you aware about all your skills and competencies? Or are you aware about all kind of knowledge that you have? Have you done a SWOT analysis of yourself? Have you done an introspection? Have you written down somewhere that what are your strengths and what are your weaknesses? What are the opportunities that your current skill set or knowledge, degree, diplomas can actually bring to you? Have we done all that things? So see, when we are preparing for focusing on getting some interview calls or getting some good jobs in good organizations, we always get into a mode where we start feeling depressed or stressed about it कि हमें calls नहीं आ रहा है, is things are right or not, how go ahead, jobs नहीं है market में. But before looking into all those things, have we looked into the self part? Have we prepared the self part to a manner, in a manner that whenever we are going out, we are 100% sure that wherever we are, wherever we go, we will at least crack that interview. Right? Selection or rejection obviously is not in our hands, but whatever we are giving in terms of sharing the things about self should be the best. Right? So how you can actually get creative about it. So suppose now let me ask you a question that is generally asked in interview. Right? You have to tell me one experience where you feel that you were in a problem or you faced a very large challenge, but you overcome that challenge. So you have to tell me your story. How did you do that? So let's start with, who wants to start first? So let's go with the experienced ones first. So Vikas, let's start with you.
Yeah, ma'am, and when we have 3 units at our factory, and in unit 5 we have I am working in store, so there is a capacity of 890 square meter pallets. So that was built for 3 series of material.
Mhm.
But after that, unit 1 has been shifted to unit 5 in our firm. So we are facing a huge shortage of space. And due to that, we have to keep material in our gangways. So every time when our visitors or VIP one comes, it's creating very bad impression. So to overcome from that, we have taken a permission from management to keep some of the material in unit 1. And afterwards, we have also taken a permission to store material on first floor, which was an FG material. Previously, at that place, we are keeping FG material. So we had discussed with the management and informed them to shift FG material in our godown nearby us, 7 kilometers. So every day, FG material is shifted on the same day from production. So we had created a space of nearby 300 square meters. After that, we have discussed with the facility team and tested the load capacity of the floor. And then after we had installed a rack system on the first floor. Right now we are planning to store a rack system on the first floor so that we can get additional near about 200 square meters of space. And that's how we had come out of them in the month
Okay.
of December, in next month.
Okay. So what was the major problem that you work in?
We are due to space shortage. There was so many times we are not getting the material on time.
Correct.
If there is a material, then also we have to search, and so many times we are saying the production that we don't have the material. It's
Right.
already showing in the system, but we are not able to provide on the time.
So that was a challenge,
It's
right?
a production loss.
Right. So see, when you're telling this particular example, right? So let's take this as an example that you had to share about your challenge and how you overcame it. So instead of speaking in jargons in the sense talking about the product, what is, right? What happened in the unit and all those things. People like, maybe Neeru or Gulshan who have never seen a factory, they may not be able to understand the jargons that you used completely, right? So how you can actually make your storytelling more interesting, right? Talk about you as a hero of your story. If you overcame that challenge, right? Like we have seen movies, how do they say, what do they do actually in movies? So movies are all about, keep yourself on mute or else I'm not able to hear. Yeah. So what we do is generally, in movies, what happens? There is a hero, right? He's the central character of the entire movie, or the heroine along with that. But majority in India, what happens is hero is the major player, right? And the entire story moves around him. So the plot actually may not be that strong, but in India, the movies will work on the hero, the central character of the movie. Then the central character actually showcases his entire thing. So his positives, his negatives, his failures, his success, his sad story, mother nahi hai, father nahi hai, apne aap kaam kiya, gareeb tha, whatever, so different kind of things. So imagine yourself as a hero of this story. Now you have faced a lot of problems. So now what you have to do is you have to gather some emotions or feelings around your story so that the audience, right, the interviewer starts feeling, getting empathetic about whatever you are sharing. Right. So the question, this particular question is actually designed for that the interviewer gets to know about the interviewee in a manner that they see their vulnerable side, they see their strengths, and they see their coming out of the story as a hero, right? So these are the things that we have to talk. And whenever you're talking, it's always beneficial that instead of using too much of jargons or difficult language or technical language for that matter, you start sharing your story in a manner that it becomes much more interesting, right? Like we talked about things yesterday, that bringing humor is a wonderful thing whenever we are talking, communicating. Why we all love Kapil Sharma show? Purely because he brings in totally different kind of, he shares real life examples. The initial part of Kapil Sharma, basically he actually observes so many different things. That's the beautiful thing about his show. And then he actually observes those things and bring the humor out of those particular situations. So everything that is keep happening around us, just say, I think last week or some part of it I was watching, and where he was actually sharing the story about people who use toilets in train. What are the different stories he had seen? So how do he get to know about those stories? Right? He went for travel, he saw people, he observed, and then he created those jokes around that. Right? So that's the central part of it, is this plot should be that interesting that the person who is listening to it can get much emotional effect with you. I mean, get emotionally connect with you. Right? So that's the whole idea about it. So anybody else who wants to answer this question? Let's hear from Veena. So what is the major problem that you overcome in your career at any point in time, maybe in your last organization, and how did you overcome that challenge?
In my last organization, I was posted as the Sainik Welfare Officer, and I got my first posting in my husband's hometown. and I wanted to move to a district closer to my place where my husband was posted. So I started inquiring for which is a better place to work, and I found out that there are two places other than the town in which he was, the city in which he was. So and since there was already one person, I got posted to the next nearest place, that is Alleppey. I don't know whether you people have heard of the backwaters, Alleppey backwaters. And so Alleppey, so when I started, I was relatively new to the department, and I started inquiring with my seniors about how the district was. Like, I was told that it is a very volatile place, and you will have a lot of work, and the people are always in a conflict mode, and the customers or the clients who are coming, as well as the staff, they don't cooperate. And but my husband was a great support. He told me that you should go there with an open mind, and that is the tenure which I enjoyed the most in my tenure as assigning welfare officer, because there what I found was that people were not being taken together as a team. So my first challenge was to have them, have confidence in me, behave nicely. And in Kerala, like generally what I've noticed is that men have this ego issue. And I, being an officer, these other ranks always have this problem with an officer, and they come with that bias in their mind that, you can't gel well, and they always look for an opportunity for conflicts. So there I had to change. I always do that, like based on the person, I use the tactic. So there, like, I had the opportunity. All of them were senior to me, but I behaved nicely, and I used to do jobs along with them to give them the confidence, learn the job myself. And finally, by the time I left that place, like after 1 year, when my husband was posted out, I had to leave that place. People were very sad that I was leaving. And I think that I felt very nice, that I could get my team along. And we had a chief minister's program also, where we had to stay overnight, and my entire team was so much of support. Like, they really took care of me, not as a senior or anything. We were one team, and that's a tenure, best tenure in my previous job. I think that was a challenge, but when you work as a team, you can overcome everything. And because there is so much of cohesion with when the team is along. And I think that's a wonderful experience.
Very good. Yeah. Very nice. All right. So next is Satyanarayan. Let's hear from you. Your also experience, you must have faced some challenges.
Yeah, ma'am. I think I lost electricity here. You will not be able to see me.
It's
But
okay.
okay. Yeah, I'll go ahead with. This is actually a story like around 2005, 2006, wherein it was my first organization, wherein due to some reason the organization was like at a point of closure. Okay. Initially, at first round, wherein the first in first out, like who has joined the latest one, they were removed. Like one batch of people were removed, and almost like they have given like 1 year salary equal to 1 lakh, something of that kind of money was given. And the next lot, who are almost like 5 to 6 years of work working with the organization, like they were in a dilemma. Like, should we leave the job, or should we continue to get whatever we would have got, like when company closes down? That was something like a dilemma in everybody. Like, nobody is taking a decision to like move out of the organization. And even like there were like other organizations, there were opportunities, but it looks like all opportunity would have gone, like if we are not moved out here also. That was little bit dilemma with everybody in the organization. But I was the first person like who has taken a decision. If we wait for this money, because we don't know when it is going to close down, because second stage was not defined, like when it will be, like will close, like people will be moved out and they will be compensated for that. So that was a little bit dilemma in everybody. So I had taken a courage to move out. I was the first person who taken a courage and moved out with the new organization which was coming up in the nearby industrial area only.
Mhm.
So after that, like everybody started moving based on my uh, the decision what we had taken. So most of the people like started taking the challenge and started moving out. So that was
Correct.
one of the thing what I see, like people started following me on based on the decision.
So you
Because
became
if
the
we,
hero. See?
yeah, if we
Mhm.
stay there, we were never know like what would have been our status, and the other organizations which were coming up, we would have not landed up new jobs also. Maybe up by that time, we would have all the jobs would have been closed down.
Correct. So that's a wonderful way of telling, things about self, right? I'll again share the same thing that, whenever we are sharing some stories, some anecdotes, right? Some experiences that we have gone through, or we are talking about how we overcome them, always keep in mind that you speak your story in this particular form. Either you follow this thing, which is the next slide. Sorry, not this one. This one. So with the elements that there is a plot is basically the story, the character, which is you, theme, the settings where the story actually happened, the dialogues, what did the dialogues happen between the people who were there and you, melody in the sense that what are the emotions that you triggered, what was the presentation style in which these things happen. Decor is basically the visual aesthetics, and the spectacle matlab, from your story there should be one point, one line that actually moves people, right? So that is how you have to tell every experience of your life. You have to create it in this manner. Or if you're speaking purely from the professional front, then you have to follow your ability, skill, and task. Ability, skill, and knowledge. So first you have to talk about the situation which happened, and how you handle that situation is with your ability. So what is your ability in this particular stories, right? You have to highlight that. So what are the abilities that you have, which is not your skill or knowledge?
It is like
Quickly.
right decision taken at the right time.
Right. So decision making is your ability, one of the abilities that you have, gained over the period of time. Correct. Then what is your skill about it, this story? What are the skills that you used?
Mm, skill wise,
Interpersonal skills.
Yeah, what are the personal skills that you used?
courage,
Okay. Courage is again an ability.
yeah, motivation, motivating others,
Motivating others. Okay.
Leadership,
Yes, leadership skills.
leadership,
Wonderful.
yeah.
team building, team spirit.
Right. Correct. So see, these are your skills. Wonderful, right? Then what about your knowledge? How did you acquire? What was the knowledge that you put into the use in this particular situation? So the
One
knowledge
is
about
understanding.
things, yeah. So knowledge about things that you know. So knowing that there is a difficult time, coming out of that difficult time. In Vina's case, knowing about that people are not, there is some conflict somewhere. So people are making that kind of a situation where the conflicts are arising out of those situations. So this is utilizing your knowledge to that particular situation, right? So that's how you have to tell a story and it make it more interesting. Laugh at yourself. That is what happens. Uh, Majority of the people who have written good quotes, what they say in their quotes is that what you are facing as a difficult time today, 5 years down the line, you will actually laugh at what has happened at that point in time. So whatever challenges think that it is happening to us, we always see it as a difficult time. How we come out of it, what are the things that we are going to learn. But after a few years, we would be actually laughing कि कैसे हमने वो face किया था, how we came out of it. So so that becomes one of the memory, that becomes one of your memorable point or an experience that you can actually talk about later on, right? So imagine if somebody has lived a life of 75, 80 years. So 80 years pay, if professionally that person has worked for say 55, 60 years. So what kind of experience that person has gathered, right? But what happens is that we actually do not create stories of these experiences that has happened with us. We take it as a momentum things, and then we just don't write it down. We don't take a note of it. We don't journalize all these things. And what happens with most of us is we keep forgetting about these things, right? At the end of the day, we get retired, we enjoy our retirement life, things happens, and then life moves on. imagine now those people who have been with us, similar kind of things, similar kind of experiences, similar organizations, but some of them actually choose a different path, and he or she actually creates a storybook out of it, or a book out of it, book of experiences. He or she names it something different altogether, right? And not just one book, one after the another, then another, then another. And that person becomes a very important storyteller, or a novel writer, or a very good author. Correct? The same person you would say, up now, let's take an example of Chetan Bhagat, right? So Chetan Bhagat was IIM Ahmedabad pass out, हमारा कभी senior रहा था. Then, he started writing stories. He left the entire experience of corporate jobs and bank jobs and all, and then he started following a different path, author. Now, people who would be working with him in that particular bank would now talk about how beautiful stories he had started writing, right? So he has started sharing his own experiences of what gathered around in those corporate offices. Initial one or two novels was basically about that, right? So that's how you become a different kind of a storyteller, different kind of a person, purely because you chose a different path for your communication, how you were communicating your experiences, how you were talking about those experiences. So it is up to you whether you are writing it down or making it more interesting, or you want to become a journal person and just not talk about it and just give a normal interview and keep following a path of just doing a job. That's all. Right. So that's the story. That's the difference between. And that is the reason why you will see that most of the brands have started talking about storytelling as a part of the advertisements that they use. Right. So there can be three different ways of telling storytelling. Storytelling can be oral, like we were sharing the experiences right now. Right. जैसे हमारी नानी दादी हमें stories सुनाते थे और teachers सुनाते थे, so different stories that you've heard. Now there is a platform called digital. So now digital storytelling is all about how you get attached to the brand, right? So now you will see so many advertisements which are talking about, so Amazon ki nayi advertisements dekho. So the new advertisement is basically talking about the corona time period. Gift aata hai, gift is not being directly sent to the person they want to give. They go personally, the mother and son. Why they go to that person is not a relative, because that person has helped them get a bed during the corona difficult times. So situation which happened, ऑक्सीजन सिलेंडर्स नहीं थे, बेड्स अवेलेबल नहीं थे बहुत सारी जगहों पे इंडिया में. So this person helped them. So Amazon actually created a story out of it beautifully. So an anecdote, an experience, they shared a story, they created a brand value. The brand value got an attachment with people. People are emotional, they get attached with such kind of situations and stories, and that's how they become a wonderful experience coming out of it. So that's what we can all do with ourselves when we are giving interviews. Right? Why do you feel that some people are really, really very good at communication in terms of sharing their stories and all that? Are there any people nearby you, or people who you really love to listen to because they are really good speakers in your life? I mean, in your relatives, friends, colleagues. है ऐसा कोई who is really humorous, who really loves to talk, who shares his stories in a very humorous manner, in a different manner altogether?
And
Right?
my wife does that very well.
Correct. So see, you have such a wonderful example you have, right? So somebody who is just next to you, keep telling different kind of stories to you from a different angle all.
Yeah.
Right?
And
Right?
most of the time I am a listener. She sound talking gives good
I think most husbands are like that, right? Even the quota of words in a day, men and women differ.
It's not like that, but she has got something special. She like
An ability. Very
yeah.
good. So this is what it is all about.
Yeah.
So amongst us, it's my husband who speaks more. So he has different kind of stories altogether to share. I don't share my personal professional stories that ways, the way he does it. So he brings humor into those stories and all that.
Yeah, even my husband, he has a particular way of telling stories, so that it is a different angle from what we have heard or seen. So he has a
Right.
an ability, and we remember it also. Like another
Absolutely.
situation, we remember it. That is the beauty of it.
So that is what the beauty of storytelling, right? So somebody who is really good at communication, in the sense that they can actually bring humor, they can laugh at themselves. So one very important part of giving interview is, even in interview, especially when this question is asked, that what is your weakness, or what is your strength, or what are the problems that you have faced, how you overcome challenges. So whenever these kind of questions come across to you, it's very good that you talk about the humor for self, that you failed and laugh about it, and then how you overcame, then bring that proud moment, that pride, that glory about how you actually overcame that particular situation. So that, see, whenever people talk about feelings or emotions or any such aesthetic of sharing things with each other, they get attached to the entire situation, right? More examples I would like to give you is, suppose some what is your favorite movie? Chalo, let's talk about that. From that also a lot of things will come out.
3 Idiot, ma'am.
So 3 Idiot is Gulshan's favorite story. Why? Just give me in one line why it is your favorite movie. Do not take much time. Quickly, just one line.
Because, ma'am, in 3 Idiot, ma'am, there is one line that is care on your passion. Then it would be more fruitful.
Sorry, I didn't understand.
Care on your passion, ma'am.
Okay, so they were clear about their
Obvious,
passion.
because, ma'am, in 3 Idiot, one of the guy who is expert in photography, but he was doing BTech at that time.
Hmm.
But
So
inside
following the
the heart,
passion,
yeah,
that's what you
yeah,
liked about the movie.
yeah.
Okay, good. So following the passion is the way to
But
understand.
his father forcing him to
Yeah. It's okay. It's
doing
okay.
BTech.
One
Yeah.
line. Move on. Just one line you have to say. So for following the passion is yours. Veena, quickly. Which is your favorite movie and why? You need time to think. So let's move to the next person. Then we'll come back to you till the time you think. Satyendra
Yeah, ma'am. I really love the movie Sholay.
surely.
The
Okay.
the characters, the story,
Most
everything is
Indians
fun.
love that movie. Yeah, somehow.
Everything is fantastic about that movie.
Right.
There is nothing to pinpoint about that movie. It's
Perfect. Yeah.
really anytime if you tell me, I can sit for 3 hours and see that movie.
Yeah, but
That's
why?
how it
One
is.
line, may you have to give me the reason. Why do you like this movie?
It is a wonderful story and very good characters in the movie.
Okay, stories
Yeah.
and characters. Okay, Sarmangla ma'am.
Ma'am, it is very difficult to say, but I love the movie Silsila. I know, I just don't know, because the way we were brought up,
Mhm.
love, everything was considered as a taboo during that time.
Hmm.
My husband should be the first person. We were brought up like that. Okay, though gone to the best of the institutions for having our education, but still we were brought up like that. So Silsila has changed my outlook towards life. In the sense, it was for the first time that I am seeing, where I could associate. Like, this is also a part of life. We don't feel like, accusing or finding fault with a person who is already married, moving out with another person.
Hmm.
And maybe at a later stage, maybe after many years, I understood that this is all about even what it said in Bhagavad Gita. Our mind is, that is free. It is not, it can be, we can, it is not, if you think it from the angle of marriage, and if you think it from the angle of marital status, it is an extramarital affair. But, if you're thinking about the mind, it is a mind that is given, that is something very nice and divine, in fact.
Absolutely.
So
So the
it changed,
freedom part of it.
yeah. It changed my outlook totally.
Very good. Okay, wonderful. Neeru, what's yours?
I'm actually just name just slipped out from my mind. Yeah, it is of Amitabh Bachchan and Hema Malini's like where they have 4 sons, and based on the family relations, and very emotional one. I don't know.
Satya pe Satta?
Huh?
Satya
This
pe Satta?
Bhagwan.
Yeah,
Ah, Bhagwan.
Bhagwan
Right.
is Bhagwan, yeah.
Oh, okay, Bhagwan. Okay, very nice. Okay, why do you like it?
Yeah, ma'am. Actually, based on our personal relations, that how like parents are, what they are doing for their family, and how
Okay.
their children behaved in a manner, and how they come out from their personal relations. Like if they have not behaved well, then they just try like set up their mind to leave them behind.
Okay. Because
Ma'am, old Dosti.
कौन
It's
सी?
an Dosti. In
दोस्ती.
in
Okay.
1972. It's a story about the two friends. One is blind and one have a one friend doesn't have a leg. So after this, blind they are beggars, both are.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So afterwards, the blind one help in teaching the person who don't have the leg and
Okay.
learn the education.
Okay.
So
Why
I
do
love
you
that.
like that movie? Your reason of liking that movie.
Ma'am, it's a total emotional movie,
Okay.
and we can learn so many things. What is a friendship and how they are sacrificing
Who are the
about the
actors in
friendship.
this movie?
Ma'am, both actors are die. Too much old movie. It's in 1972, I think. Movie was made in
But
1972.
who are the actors? Old actors. I must
Yeah.
have seen this movie. No, I am very fond of old movies, so I must have seen
That
it. I don't remember.
good song, Meri Dosti Mera Pyar.
I think I've seen that. Okay.
Yeah.
Right, good. Yes, Veena, coming to you.
Mine, I love Jurassic Park Part 1.
Okay. Part one was the best, correct.
And I still, that the whole concept of dinosaurs, and what I liked the best about it was the whole new idea which came in front of the world, which
The
that we never
sci-fi
knew
thing.
that such a thing existed, and the way it was brought out, it was beautiful, and also technological advancements at that time. I think the dinosaurs were great.
How they used elements of technology, VFX, and all those things. Yeah, that's a wonderful.
There was a subtle message also, I feel, so because we are so small in front of nature, and we can never truly believe that we can subdue nature. We are only a minute specimen, or minute speck of the whole universe. That how what do you say, that is something which was brought out in the whole thing. Ultimately the nature wins. That I loved it.
Perfect. Right. So good. So see, now 6 different people, 6 different choices of movies, and totally for different reasons. Right. That's what storytelling is all about. Right. So Sholay, he loved this movie purely because it has a lot of messages, the way the entire things are portrayed, different characters were portrayed, so many different things about Sholay. Right. And there was actually so many messages coming out of Sholay that it actually became one of the very large movies which was used by management gurus and management people in management teaching different skills from management point of view also.
It's an
Right?
ever-time classic, right, ma'am?
Yeah, it's an all-time classic. It's coming out a lot of sharing about a lot of I don't know what to call it, a different kind of messages, different kind of presentation, the visual aesthetics of how it actually was created in a manner, different kind of spectacles brought to us. The plot was totally different from that particular point of view. Even if you show it to your kids today, they will also love that. So there is something about that movie, right? And now coming to Jurassic Park, she liked all these movies because of the message that it gave, that nature is really large, technological effects, right? Nidu, she liked that particular thing from family bonding, family story structures, and all that, right? Vikas liked that particular movie again for emotions and how it brought in the story factors and the friendships, right? Gulshan liked it purely from the college point of view, that there are something that is being passionate followed. So imagine it is connecting with you purely from the basis of how and where you are currently, right? There is something that relates to us in these stories, and we particularly like these stories purely
Yes,
on the
ma'am.
basis of our subconscious mind, our experiences, how our feelings and emotions are attached to these things, right? Now you have another batch currently going on somewhere, and you ask these different kind of people, even if they have the similar liking for movies, their message or their reasons for liking these particular movies would be totally different, again coming up from their experiences and subconscious mind, right? So this is the beauty about storytelling, that the story is formed in a way that it has a very good plot. So comes to these elements of storytelling, right? So the plot talks about the motivation, why this particular plot is brought to you, the challenges, the goal, and the map. The map is basically the road map that where is and how it follows. So it starts from something, it ends on something different. You as an audience would never guess that this is going to happen, especially in the cases of Jurassic Park. It was a purely beautiful experiences which was brought to people, and people were actually flabbergasted with the way things were actually put across from VFX point of view. Second is character. So now character is basically all the people who are part of the movies or who are part of the entire story. Their traits, their personality, their characteristics. I don't know if you remember in class 11th and 12th when we were all studying, or it started in class 9th or 10th also. It was a part of the literature when you were reading English language or subject English as a subject. There used to be an assignment, or there used to be a proper chapter which talked about writing characteristics of different characters.
Yeah.
Right? In storytelling. So, this is the part where they actually taught us right about the personalities, right about their traits, how you actually, your central character of the story can actually be brought about in a manner that he or she is talking about emotions freely. Still, it is coming out to be. So, for example, now let's take this example of Sir Mangla Ma'am's movie, Silsila. So why Silsila actually failed on box office at that point in time? It actually failed. Nobody went to see this movie in the theaters purely because she also saying the same thing, purely because of the fear that what will people think about me, that I'm going to watch and like this movie of extramarital affair, right? So purely because of the moral compass that is always around us, the police, moral police that is always there, our family, friends, society, everybody talking about that. Now, there is a similar movie which is in English, which calls as Bridges of Madison County. That's one of my favorite. Now, the Bridges of Madison County is quite alike Silsila, not really similar lines, but very much like that. Again, a story of extramarital affair, but the way it is highlighted, the way the love and the feelings part is highlighted in Bridges of Madison County, even in the book also, it's so pure, it's so good that you won't actually feel that this lady is doing something wrong having an extramarital affair, right? And ultimately, she doesn't leave her family. She stays with their family. The person goes away, and things actually doesn't move. So the beauty about the entire story is that you start feeling totally different from where you are.
It is same
Which
as Lady
society you
Chatterley's
are.
Lover, ma'am, isn't it? It is the
Sorry?
same as Lady Chatterley's Lover. It's
I've
almost
never
the same
seen
there
that.
also.
Okay. Right. So this is the thing that the stories does to us, is that they actually take out the things, take out the emotions in us, which you also doesn't know that it exists. Correct. So imagine now an interviewer in front of you, and you want to talk about the central character of your story. That is you. They don't know what your emotions are. They don't know what your feelings are. They don't know your characteristics. So what are you going to talk about in that particular area? Right. So your plot is, what is the situation that you have overcome? Right. So that situation. Character is you, because you are talking about yourself. Maybe there was a huge team which helped you across, so you can talk about that. But the central character, the major personality who stayed behind is you. Then come to the theme part. So the settings where the story took place. The settings can be the old organization, the situation, if you were in a project or you were in a factory, something happens, an accident happened, you overcome that accident, fire happened, disaster happened, something. So that particular theme also you have to highlight and talk about. Then the dialogues. So dialects can be that what actually happened, the exchange of words between two people, right, in that particular situation, or who were the audience, who were the people who actually judged, or who were the people who evaluated, where you, who told you that you were the hero of your story and you came out of it, the message you got from that particular story, the platform where it happened, right? Next is melody. So melody is not really about music here, but what music does to us similarly. So you're triggering emotions in us. So you have to trigger emotions now in whom? In the interviewer. You want to impress that person with your story. You want to share certain things with that person in your story. You want to highlight your skills and competencies with which you have handled that particular situation. So the entire part of the presentation of how you are sharing that story and with the triggering of emotions. then decor, obviously. So, so best part about storytelling is imagination, which we have not spoken about. So why we love certain movies is purely because of the way it is put across to us in the visual aesthetics, how it looks, the cinematography, the work of the photographer, the way they wear clothes and all that, as well as, where things happen. So how you can actually say or share these things in oral stories. Imagine your dadi and nani telling you story. एक राजा था, okay, उसका बहुत बड़ा महल था, महल के अंदर इतनी सब रानियां थी या महल के अंदर इतने सब वो थे. So you start getting into that imagination. So imagine you have heard this story entire of your childhood, और जब आप बड़े हो जाते हो, so how will you actually, सब कोई आपको बोलेगा कि एक राजा था और उसका महल था, तो आप महल को कैसे विजुअलाइज करोगे? In the same manner which your dadi and nani had told you, because you have never seen a mahal in real life, right? Very few of us might have gotten a chance. And now you go to Rajasthan and see a real mahal. So the mahal of your story and the mahal of that Rajasthan would match aesthetically with each other, right? Maybe आपकी दादी नानी ने भी नहीं देखा होगा, but because they have also heard that story, so this is how things flow down. So your imagination and visualization can create such a huge impact on somebody who is listening to these stories, right? So decor is so much important when you're sharing your stories, no matter where you are and which area you are. And last is spectacle. So spectacle is basically something that is really a highlight of your story, something that you take down with you, not a model, but something else, right? So for example, आपने अपना situation पे बताया. Suppose you are telling about your situation, that this is a particular situation I faced, this is how I handle that situation. So now आपकी उस situation में कुछ ऐसा हुआ, आग लग गई, लोग भागने लग गए, people were actually running for their lives, people were not really able to take decisions, I helped them take the decision, I became the leader. So that one particular line, that one situation, that one entire sequence becomes the highlight of the story, right? So that's how your entire storytelling actually should flow in a manner that it becomes much more interesting for the people who are listening to it. Correct? That's how movies are actually shared. That's how advertisements are made. That's how digital storylining happens. That's how you start liking some of the advertisements, movies, or what do you call it? Serials, TV serials. You get attached to all these things purely because, this is what happens in those. So power of storytelling basically is interaction with your audience, your pitch, what you are speaking, what should be there, your presentation, how you are actually sharing this thing. And the connect memorable part is the same thing, that what is there that people will take with them. Right? So शोले में लोग अपने घर क्या लेकर गए? अमिताभ बच्चन क्यों मर गया? अभी तक लोग पूछते हैं कि क्यों मार दिया था उसको. Correct? So that is one point. Still exists in people's. And that was a decision of director, so that he wanted to let the story be there, but he wanted people to actually take that emotional factor and feel for it throughout their life. So that empathy, that sympathy, that flow of emotions was all there connected with the movie. Right? And then obviously it's a winner altogether. Now there are three forms of story, as I said. One is oral, digital, and written. So you can actually do it in three different formats. Right? Oral is much more simpler. Digital becomes much more difficult because you're using visual pictorial ways of actually sharing different kind of stories with people. Right? So for example, आपको advertisements देखते हो. So advertisement is what? It's a digital visualization of how the storytelling is happening. Right? Because advertisement का time period बहुत कम होता है, 30 seconds, 40 seconds, 20 seconds. And this 20 seconds में you have to share a story about the entire product, and that product has to connect with you also. It should send you the message that this is made for you, right? So that's what digital is. Written, even more complicated, because you're sending an email. There is no eye contact happening. The person is not visible to you. You don't know how the person in which situation is going to read that particular thing. So what is the lines? What are the structure that you are going to write? In which way? So that, it creates a different kind of an impact. So three different storytelling, three different ways of doing that. So novels and books, good authors actually does to us, right? There are so many movies which are based on the novels. And in 80-90% of the cases, the way books are written, people are not really able to visualize the same thing in the movies. purely because how it was written in the movies can actually never be depicted in the way it is shown. Right? Apart from Harry Potter. Harry Potter was the best thing I have seen. जो book से ज़्यादा बढ़िया है, the movies depiction. Right? So this is how things, because in books what happens is that maybe one particular chapter or 7 pages are generally talking about the feelings and emotions. But in movies, they just show it for 2 minutes. That's all. So that 7 pages converted to 2 minutes of emotions can never feel, connect with the audience in a way. These are the benefits generally when we talk about storytelling in interview or in any other way. How it does to us is it instills virtues. Like you all talk about, that a lot of movies, actually, a lot of stories talk about instilling values, good culture, good religious things in us. So this is what. So हम राम की कहानी क्यों सुनते हैं, महाभारत, Ramayana, all these three things. Why are we so attached to that? Bible की stories, all those. So different kind of stories, different kind of ways. But because it's still virtuous in all of us, that is the reason why in every household it is being told. Also, it boosts listening skills. So Satyanarayan ji was saying that I am the listener and my wife share the story. So listening is also really an important part of, because if everybody is just sharing the stories and nobody is listening, obviously is not going to create that impact. So it boosts listening skills also. It fosters imagination. So visualization and imagination has a very, very good way of putting across into stories. So maximum fiction stories, fictional stories आप देख रहे होगे, non-fiction तो चलता रहता है, but fictional stories are basically pure fictional work. And I get really amazed how these writers can actually think about something like that. Something as grand as, if you have seen Harry Potter, you would understand कि कैसे वो हैरी पॉटर के कैरेक्टर्स उन्होंने सोच भी लिए होंगे. मतलब imagine totally different kind of thing altogether. So imagine the imagination of that person, the visualization of characters, कैसे लिखा होगा, कैसे उसके सीन होंगे, कहाँ से वो जादू कर रहा होगा, totally different kind of things altogether. Then it enhances communication skills. So purely why we are using storytelling as a part of the communication tool is because it really, really it creates a totally different kind of an impact when you start sharing it that. Right? Teachers using that, trainers using that, interviewers using that. So many people who are actually using communication skills ka part as a storyteller is really, really very important. It helps sharpen memory. Why it helps sharpen memory? Because you are generally talking about your experiences. So over the time, if you keep repeating your experiences in the form of stories to different people, you start feeling that your memory is actually keep having a storage of all those memories that you have gone through in the entire lifetime. Correct? So this is what it's all about.
Ma'am, I think it will help also to improve the sequential thinking process.
Yeah, very true. Very important. Because how you actually have to think about one sequence after the another, how the story actually is taking place, that is really, really important part of it. Right? So now coming to the end of this session, we'll talk about what is your story. The same thing that we started with. Okay. So now take 2-3 minutes of time. You want to write down your points, talking about your stories, write it down, and then share the stories in the same manner as if you're telling your life story to people.
Ma'am, is it the entire life story or a particular incident or anything of that sort?
No, what is your story? So whatever you want to highlight in your story. Don't take more than 5 minutes. Otherwise, people will start getting.
Yeah.
Would you like to tell us your story?
Your story.
For
My story.
Yeah.
I'll share. Okay. So I'll start. Don't worry. So take 5 minutes, write it down, jot your points, and then I'll share my story. So you need to ask anything, I'm here, but try and use these elements. This is how your story should look like. All right, let's start. It's more than 5 minutes, actually. Shall we?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so who wants to start?
We'll start now, ma'am, so that we get a lead.
Okay, so is everybody here? Then I'll start.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So my story is all around the experiences that I've gathered in professional as well as personal life. Basically, a quote which explains my life better is never give the handbrush of your own life to somebody else. Create your own painting or create your own masterpiece. So I took things in my hand, maybe as a child itself, and I became the most carefree kind of a child in my entire family. We were a large family of 5 brothers and sister. I chose to be a very different one, stating from my features because I was the only one with curly head. My choices of loving coffee more than tea again differentiated me from them, and that's how I became a totally different character from my childhood itself. Similar things happened when I was choosing a lifestyle for myself in terms of my professional liking. My father being in HR, I really loved the way he was handling different kind of things in his organization, which was again a very large setup. He was general manager BHEL in Haridwar. So being born and brought up around him, looking at him, again, everybody else was thinking about becoming a doctor, engineer, and everybody else. I was the one who actually chose this path that I want to do BBA and MBA. BBA was recently introduced during that time, and I became the first one in the entire city who chose BBA as the path to do. Separate, other than the regular BComs and BSc and other things. Similar thing happened with MBA. I was the first one in my entire family to go to hostel and study in hostel completely. Though we had a lot of good opportunities at hometown, still I chose a totally different path and stayed in MDU Rohtak and then in Pune. Then started working with many organizations. Again, life has their own plan, but uh, I chose to be a different one, and I chose a company not really given by college, and not as a campus placement of the college. Actually went to the interview myself, looked for the job myself, and got this particular opportunity on my own, refusing all the organization which chose us in campus placement. Why? Purely because I wanted to be the only female in the leadership position from very start. As I said yesterday, that I am very impatient. I cannot really wait for a longer period of time to become what I want to become. That is the reason why at the age of 27, I became the director HR of one of the largest BPO in the country. Again, that did not satisfy my contentment. It did not bring any contentment doing things in HR in the similar manner that I was doing for last 6, 7 years. So again, I chose a different path, got married, had a child, and I thought of leaving the corporate structure purely because I wanted to do something of my own. It was not really bringing satisfaction to me, not being able to help the people the way I wanted to help. Hence, the entire what do you call it, foundation of human rhythms, HR human rhythms. It was basically an idea of a professor who was teaching in Sri Lanka University. He was the one who actually brought this particular idea of ki HR should be equal to human rhythms because people you are working with closely cannot be the resources, right? Because they have a heartbeat, so they cannot be. So from that, the entire idea of human rhythm started. I took his permission to use that human rhythms in my organization. That's how the foundation of the organization started, along with working with a lot of MSMEs. So the idea of human rhythms from the day one was that we wanted to help MSME and startup in terms of how they actually handle and work around their human resource departments. Right? People were not really taken up as seriously In smaller organization, as it would be in large conglomerates, obviously the benefits, the salaries, and the contentment is much better in larger organization or government organization. But we wanted to give that experience in smaller organization also. And with God's grace, God has been really kind that all the organizations that we worked for became a successful venture. So something like Health Cart with 1mg and all that, now it has been taken over by Tata, so it become very large organization. Similar experiences happen with most of the organizations we worked with, right? And that's all. So, and then I started following a path which is on spiritual journey. I actually left everything completely. I left the life that I was living for almost a year and a half. I did not continue the job, the business, family. I left everything and I went to Himalayas to pursue meditation, did courses in yoga and meditation, stayed there for 1.5 years. Then I realized that when you're looking for contentment and satisfaction, you don't need to be in Himalayas. You can actually do it anywhere where you are. You can actually do your regular life and still you can be spiritual. So I left all the thoughts related to religion, politics, and all that, and I came back, started my this journey, started giving trainings in spiritual life journey and meditation and yoga. So that's the most beautiful and important part of my life, which I still pursue and I love about it. So that's the thing. Right? So that's the story that I have.
Beautiful. Awesome.
Thank you so much.
Very good, ma'am.
Still going on. It's not the end. I'm still very young.
Inspirational story, ma'am, at a very young age.
Your story is too interesting, ma'am.
Thank you
Truly
so much.
inspirational.
It's not inspirational. See, this is how you tell your story that makes it inspirational. Right? There was a huge phase in our life when we lost everything completely. My husband took very wrong decision in business. His business major faults that we did was we both started our own businesses together. I mean, in different formats, totally different from each other. But we did not actually went with this idea that one should be in job and the other person should start. We actually made this mistake. But then we realized, we came out of that mistake very beautifully. There was a time when I had nothing, not even 10 rupees in my bag to give it to my child to bring, to purchase milk for my son. So that was basically, I think, the start of the spiritual journey that I realized. So there were some people who came, I don't know, out of sudden projects started coming in, totally different kind of feeling, totally different kind of experiences brought to us. And that's how we came from zero to again, whatever we are today. And so that's also part of the story.
No
So
words
right
to
to
explain. No words to explain.
Thank you so much, ma'am. All right, so now it's your turn. So tell me who wants to start. Or shall I pick up?
Yeah, I think that would be better.
Okay.
Is it me?
Sorry?
Is it me?
You can start. Wonderful.
Okay. I was born into a very loving and caring family. I had my father and mother and two siblings, and it was a very close-knit family where the in-laws, my grandparents, everything, like I was a very blessed child. I had many experiences and memories of my grandparents, and I was put in a school. I was good at studies, and there there was no gender bias whether it's a girl or a boy. I mean, my family also, they never ever have said that that you are a girl or something of that sort. So whatever we wanted, they granted us. And my father always instilled the lines of Rabindranath Tagore in me, like where the mind is without fear and the head is held high. He said that you have to do it with full convictions, whatever you're going to do. So that is where that is what will lead you through your life. And as a very like I just got married after my post graduation in literature, and then I was planted to another house, a totally different setting it was. We were all city bred and they were from the in a village, but were very nice people, a very understanding husband, and in-laws, superb in-laws. Still my mother-in-law is my best friend. I'm very proud to say that. She's 86 right now. one of my best friends, I would say. Very, very magnanimous, a very big-hearted lady she is. And of course, I had two sons. I started my working as an executive in an advertising company, and later was promoted to be the manager. Just at the age of 23, I became the manager of a company where I had, I was looking after the entire operations of, they had branches in different parts of the country. And sooner I had conceived my first child and I couldn't make it. I had to take a break because my husband also was working in the marketing field. I did not waste my time. I pursued my studies. I did my B.Ed in English and Home Science. I also did my MBA. But for 6 months of factory training, which was mandatory then, even still now, it is left halfway through the factory training part. I just couldn't complete it. And I was working in a school then, and it was really difficult because I was born and brought up in a school where, in a college where we use only English language. And the school was in a place in a very remote area where the children never understood what I was speaking, and I was not able to understand what they were speaking to me. They were speaking in Malayalam, and that Malayalam also I was not able to understand because this was at Calicut and the language is so different over there. And I was thinking myself to be like Mother Teresa or Father Damien, going to some strange island and where, if they are not able to understand. I say many times I even, came home and cried, why the children are not able to understand me, because it was for the first time that they are learning English. And I had a lot of perseverance in me. Slowly but steadily, I was able to win their hearts. And after some time, I got an opportunity to attend to a training at Bharati, that is Bharati Resources Learning Systems at Hyderabad. And it was a very, 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 nearly for 2 weeks, the training went on. And I got selected as the best academic coordinator and faculty. I was certified by ETEL. And later I came back to the school and I told them that I'm going to leave them and I'm going to join Centum. So it was a very, very difficult moment for me also, because even students whom I did not teach, because they were into kindergarten students were there, where I never go and teach, because I used to take only for the higher classes. And whenever I never go to my staff room to have lunch, I go to the kindergarten class to have lunch, so that, I can take care of them. Whether they are eating, I'll also be able to monitor them. So they made good friends with me. And it was a real eye-opener for me, because a few of my students, who were close to me in the kindergarten, where I did not teach them at all, they came to my class and they, I don't know, with a piggy bank. They were bringing piggy banks and they broke the piggy banks and left it on the table. Tell, ma'am, you please don't go for money. We'll give you this. Even more we can give you. Please don't go. I really literally cried over there, because they were able to understand my mind. So I came back and I just continued because already I had given them the word that I'd be joining them. I was there and I started working in some of the company also. Say by 2014, I lost my father, who was my mentor. All throughout my life, he was my mentor. So I never had any opportunity, or did I feel of any need for another boyfriend, because my father was my, everything. Because he was my friend, he was my boyfriend. Till the time he was no more, he was my best friend, I would say. And he had instilled me sufficient courage, and he also told me that, till the age of 40, I was doing things for others. Every day was an extension of another day. I was running, doing this, saying that. I never had any time for myself. So one day my father called up and told me that this is not how you should do it. You should spend some time, quality time for yourself. Listen to some good music. You pursue your hobbies. I used to draw, I used to sing. So everything, and I have learned a little dancing also for many years. I just left it halfway through because I had only 2 sons, so no one to teach to. So finally, he told that this should not be done. There will come a time in the dead end where you will not have anything to do, and there will be no one to turn to also. Maybe I will also not be there at that time. So I started my loving myself. I tried to spend some quality time for me. I just tried to pamper myself at least half an hour a day, listening to some music or anything that, then it changed my life. maybe for within 10 days, I felt that the air I breathe is different. I feel, the sights I see is different, like it was something so beautiful that was happening inside me. So that changed my outlook towards life. And by 2014, I had to relocate myself to my hometown when I lost my father, because again, I had given word to my father that I will be a walking stick for them whenever he needs me. So one day he wrote to me that I need a walking stick right now. So I just really forgot, because we used to, send mails. So he wanted me to come here. So I just came to my hometown, and I had to take care of my mother. So I left my family over there, but they were quite understanding people. So that one by one, they also came to where I am. So all of them are there with me today. I'm literally thankful to God, because all the relations, I try myself to keep it green. I will not change any color, like I will not allow it to change it to yellow or brown or black any day. So that is one thing I very, very, very purposefully I do it. So whether it is my students, whether it is my relatives, whether it is my family, or even the milkman who brings me milk, I say that I keep good relations. And this is what I try doing it. And of course, one more thing is that I I gel well with any age group. Whether it is I have friends from the age group of 2 years, from 2 years to 90 years. So I gel well with any age group, and that is one thing I should be thankful to God.
That we
God,
have seen. Yeah.
yes, this is God who keeps me going,
Absolutely.
because I am a very staunch believer of God, and I don't, any day I don't leave out my prayers on whatever ground it is.
Wonderful. Lovely story. Yeah. Great way of sharing also.
Thank you, ma'am.
All right. So who's going next? Let's do Vikas.
Yeah, ma'am.
Okay. So your turn.
Ma'am, I would like to say that how I believe in doing hard work. I like to share my story about my diploma course.
Mhm.
Before doing diploma, I was failed in 10th standard and 11th standard. I'm a very dull student. I really don't like the theory subjects mostly.
Mhm.
But I get the admission in diploma based on the donation in Karnataka and KS Polytechnic and computer science course. After getting the admission, my friend and hostel people are saying that this person who is failed in 10th and 11th, and he was just came here to waste the money of his father and mother. So after getting this feedback, I started doing the hard work, and I realized that my family is spending too much money on me, and I'm just wasting. So I started doing the hard work. For last 3 years, I stopped watching movies, roaming, going to cinema, playing, and everything, and just concentrate on doing hard work. And in final year, I passed in the first trial. My but before that, in third sem, we are in computer science. So my friends comes to me for solving the problem because I'm doing really hard work. In my class, I am the master of making programs of microprocessors and Java. So the peoples and sometimes sometimes the people say who says in the beginning what he will do. Now he is coming to learn from me the programs of the Java and C programs, Java microprocessors, and finally I passed my diploma in the first attempt. From that, I understand the importance of hard work. And today also in my industry, all my friends and colleagues are taking advice of me because I believe in understanding the base of the problem and doing the solutions accordingly.
Mhm.
And if I can say how I started my job, in my first job I had done in first stop. First job I had done in Apple in a contract basis. So after doing 2 years of job in contract, one day I received a call from first stop vice president. He has left a tool from there. He is just calling me sometimes, and he knows to my ability. And on this basis, he has directly given me the job. In the first stop, in the 4 months, I got the award of best doing the job. After that, first stop, I had joined the permanent magnet. In there, I had there's a line production. So I had changed to table production. For that, I have got the award of the Employee of the Year. In current industry in Panasonic, in 10 years of character, 10 years of journey, I have 2 times get Employee of the Month and 3 times the Best Employee Award.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Thank you. That's for me.
Imagine from a boy who did not had the so much of attention towards studies became the best of
Yeah.
employee. Correct. Wonderful story. Good. All right. So who's going next? Let's do Niru. Yeah. Yes, Niru, go ahead.
You have to unmute your.
Yeah, I
Sorry.
think you are muted.
Yeah, sorry. Good evening, everyone. I am Neeru. I was born in a border village of Delhi, actually. I was born in a typical Jat family. We have like 5 brothers and sisters. So I was born in a joint family. Around 30 members were there in my family. My grandmother was my best friend. I used to I was growing with her, sharing her experiences of life. And I was, instead of my mother, I was, very attached to her. So she was my backbone, actually. Whatever I used to do, right or wrong, where somewhere she was responsible for everything, everything. So I was the first girl, actually, who has completed her graduation. All my elder sisters were married at a very young age. So completed my graduation after having a long battle with my own family. Then married to again a joint family. I have grandparents, parent-in-laws, in-laws in my family, brother-in-law, sister-in-law, their kids, my kids. So we have a family of 12 members. Instead, I will say 14 members. One of the sister, my grandfather-in-law's sister was staying with us for 3 years. One of my grandmother-in-law's sister was staying with us for 3.5 or more than that time with us. So the life was going on, working hard for my family. And I have shared that much my quality time or my time with my grandparents or with my family that even I have not spent with my kids. So still, after I was unable to continue my studies after my marriage, but still the hidden desire was still there that I should continue my studies somewhere. I don't know how. Then we have shifted to Rohini in 2019. In 2019, and when the first lockdown was going on, then I was discussing with my son, why don't you talk to me in English, because I want to communicate in English. I was not good enough. I will say, okay, I was not able to talk or communicate with my children also in English. So then he was like, Mama, if you really want to speak English, then why don't you join some classes? So that was the idea that struck my life again. And he searched few classes for me. Then I was having some demo classes. I had a class with Dheeraj also. Then I selected this YSI classes. the major thing was there that I was not sure that my husband will allow me to attend these classes, or he will, appreciate that it should be a good or not. But the surprising fact was he showed his very like positive attitude. Why don't you start? If you want to start, then you should. You are studying. If you are taking online classes, you have to like take these classes from home. Then you should go. And he was more than curious, for more than me. Why don't you start? Why are you delaying your classes? So his enthusiasm that he supported me was the second thing that I was strike towards my learning. Then while like having all these communication classes with Neeraj sir, once I saw the status of Neeraj sir about his human resource classes, and I asked him, sir, what is this course is all about? Then he told me about the course, and I asked him, sir, what are the qualifications that you need for this course? Because I was a graduate, and I don't think a graduate can do all these such kind of courses, and after this long break. Then I was like, we need just past 12th, and there was no such qualifications more than that. I want to join the course, but still there was something in my heart. I would be able to start my learning again, or I could justice with my studies or not, with my learning or not. So that was the fear within me. So after with the support of my husband and my son, I started my classes. When I started my classes, everything was totally new for me, right? The terminologies you all are doing. So that time I was unable to understand like many things that I used to write side by side on my notebook. I was not asking many things in class that what others think about me, that she don't know all these small things also. So then I used to write so many things in my notebook and try to search out all these things. Many times, actually, I take support of Neeraj sir. Sir, I was unable to do. I'm not getting time to study. I'm not getting, that much time to search all these things because everything is new for me. So he supported me everywhere whenever I need him. And then I started my journey. Then I was not getting enough time to my studies on my assignments. So there was a time that I should leave the classes. And then like when I was discussing with Archana ma'am, Sir Mangala ma'am and all you. So I again get that courage in me, okay, I should start, I should do a new start. Then I was thinking about I am doing HR management. And if I am unable to manage myself, my households, or my kids, or my responsibilities, then how could I be able to do the HR? It's not a justice to the HR that I am already not managing myself. So I started managing many things, so many things with my maid, so many things with my family members and all. And so many tones were there when I told my family members that I have started learning again. Like my mother-in-law used to like, इस बुढ़ापे में तू क्या पढ़ाई करेगी और क्यों करेगी, क्या जरूरत पड़ी हुई है. Then again from someone else के let's see, शुरू तो उसने कर दिया, करेगी कैसे. Then all these tones gave me courage कि नहीं, अब तो मुझे करना ही है. Now I have to finish all these things. And now finally, now the time has come that I am going to complete my course. I'm very happy. And during this course, I feel many changes within me. I am totally, I'm feeling that now I'm totally different person. There's nothing like all the time, iski chugli, uski chugli, baithe and group discussions and all these things. Now I have a lot of things to do. Apart from my family life, I just want to such journey, you want to be something else from this journey. So thank you so much, all of you. You have been very inspirational for me. Thank you so much. This is all about me.
Lovely. Wonderful. So imagine the courage can come from the taunts also, right? That's the major part. That's the fun part of being in life. Yeah, good. All right,
Yeah.
so next, let's do Gulshan.
Yeah. My name is Gulshan Singh. I am from Bihar, and I was born in 8 August 1999, and in initial time I did my schooling from the government school, you can say, in which is in my village. Okay, a
Mhm.
smaller school. But whenever I was in the sixth classes, then I joined a pathology, because at that time in my home, my father is facing problems of money. That's why I joined, and I did work there, I think 1 year. Okay, and after that, actually, those who are owner of that building, actually, his son is his his son was studying at that time in the Kota. Then at that time, I listened about Kota. Then whenever his son was come, then I asked what is the process to go there. Then he told me. Then after 6 months, I decided I will study definitely. And after that, I leave everything, and I started and I started taking coaching, taking tuition of CBSE, you can say, CBSE, uh, of sixth and seventh classes, and
Right.
I completed the mathematics of sixth and seventh classes of CBSE, and after that, I am applying in the schools, that is Gyanvati Modern School, San Joseph, but I got selected in the two schools, that is Gyanvati and in the San Joseph. But in San Joseph, it is mandated that your parents, that is your father and mother, should uh, become at least completed the graduation. But my father had already completed the graduation, but my mother was intermediate only. That's why I did not take an admission in that schools. And at last, I did take admission in Gyanvarti in 8 classes. And whenever I did take admission, then whenever I join the classes, then even I did not know to read the book in very well manner. Whenever I was reading book at that time, then in a page I found I think 40 word, 50 word meaning. Uh, Means I don't know the Hindi of that word. Okay, then I used to write down on the paper, and I purchased a dictionary, and I used to search from there, because at that time there is no any internet, there is no any phone. That's why. And whenever I went in ninth classes, then actually that school was also good, too famous school in my hometown. Okay, then some of the students are giving the examination of was giving the examination of FITG FITG entrance examination. Then at that time, first time I listened about the FITG, and I am also, and at that time I was also thinking to join the FITG, and I was also interested to give that examination, but I did not have that much knowledge to crack that examination, as well as in my family, my dad did not have that much amount. That's why they can enroll me in that particular institution. That's why I informed to my parents at that time I will take admission in FITG, and I prepare for the examination. And whenever I was in ninth, then I told to my parents. Then he told, okay, at first study here, because because you are shifted from the, you can say, government school to private school. You are facing a lot of problem, and whenever you will take admission there, then maybe you will also face too much problems there. Then I think, okay, they're also right thing. then then after I completed 10th from 10th 10th from Gyanvati Residential Complex, Noida. And whenever I completed 10th, then I think some of my friend went to Kota for the preparing of for the preparation of IIT examination, and some of my friends went for the preparation of NEET examination. In I think last April 1st May, and at that time I was also telling to my friend, telling to my parents, I also want to go to Kota for the preparation of IT examination. Then he was also he was procrastinating always. Okay, I will think. Once whenever your result will come, then I will send you. He was only procrastinating day by day. Then in August, either last July, okay, in the last July of the week, there is last batch started in the Ellen Career Institute, and that was the last batch. Then I told to my parents, this is the last batch, and after that, no batch will be a start of 11. Then at that time also he was procrastinating. Okay, I will think. Then at that time I told, it is not time to think. This is the last batch. You are always procrastinating. Then me and my mother is one sided, and my father is one sided. And whenever 10 days class has already happened there in the Kota, then on 8 August, my my mother convinced to my dad, you should send his to Kota for the preparation of IIT examination. Then 8 August plan made. Then I am very happy at that time. Tomorrow I will go to Kota for the preparation of IIT examination. Then tomorrow I catch a train and I went to Kota. And after that, whenever I settled, then afterwards, that is on 12 August, either 13 August, whenever I went in the classroom, actually classroom was, you can say, I did not never see before in my life that type of classroom. Actually, classroom was too amazing. Actually, before that, I did not saw that type of classroom in my life. Actually, teacher was used to teach Mac, and actually, and see everything was available in the classes. Then actually my math was good, but my physics was also good, but you can say average. And after attending the class 2 to 3 days, I am facing difficulty in the physics. Okay, because I did already left the classes. I did already left the 10 classes. That's why 10 to 12 classes. That's why. And I was good in mathematics. That's why I catch the math, but I am facing problem only in the physics. And whenever I told to my parents, then he was telling, okay, and when you did not understand the physics, then you can catch the train and go to home. This is only option, because in the LN there is actually a system. Whenever you are not satisfied with your classes, okay, and whenever you are not getting anything, then actually LN will deduct 30% of money, okay, from the fee, whatever fee. Suppose that I pay 1 lakh, then he will deduct only 25 to 30,000. Okay. Then at that time, my father told. Then I was not agree. Then after some time, again my mother and I convinced my father, and he finally came to home, and I was doing classes there. And in 11th, I faced too much problem due to the, you can say, backlog, because I missed the classes initial. That's and after that, whenever course was completed, then then actually there was 2 months of vacation. Okay, then in that vacation, all of the students came to their home. That and I live there only because I have too much doubts. That's why I think I should not go to home, because if I will go to home, then maybe whenever I will come into wealth, then I will face lots of problems.
Gulshan,
That's
thoda
why
sa
I
fast
decided.
karo because everybody else is left. No, your story is going too
Yeah,
long.
that's why. Yeah, that's why I decided to not go to home, and
Hmm.
I was there, and after that I did attend the Infuse classes, the 12th classes, and after that in 2019 I give the examination of board, and I also give the examination of JEE Mains and JEE Advanced, but unfortunately I did not clear the cutoff of JEE Advanced in specifically in chemistry. Okay,
Hmm.
that's why I did not got the IIT college,
Okay.
and I got college through the JEE Mains.
Okay. Very nice. Good.
And right now I am pursuing BTech
Engineering. Good.
from the Institute of Technology, Central Government College, Chhattisgarh, Bilaspur.
Wonderful. Good.
Thank you so much,
Very
ma'am.
inspiring.
Actually, all story are too inspiring to
Yeah.
inspire
So, but you have
more.
to, what we have to do is see the story had to shorten down. We don't have to discuss day-to-day things that has happened with us, right? We can always shorten it down so that it becomes interesting for the listeners, right? So that's a very good story. So from somebody who had to work initially in their childhood to getting an opportunity to learn, doing engineering is a very inspiring one, right? It's just the start.
Actually, I did not told this story to to anyone till now. This is the
Very
first
good. So
time I
see,
told
this is how you
this
practice.
story. Yeah.
Very good. Wonderful. Okay, so two of you have left. Let's do Veena and then Satyanarayan. Quickly. So 5 minutes each. I know the class is
Yes.
going longer, but I want to finish it today.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Veena, and I come from a place called Palakkad, which is I'm very sure most of you must be knowing about. There are some great people who have come from this place, like T.N. Session, who was the Chief Election Commission, and Metroman Sridharan. I come from that place, and right from childhood, I have always been a tomboy, and I've always worked with, played with boys. I have never had difficulty in making friends with anybody for that matter. But I found that there was a lot of gender bias, and girls are not allowed to do this, girls are not allowed to do that, and which I could never relate to, and I always used to rebel. And thankfully, my father was in the Gulf, and he is an ex naval personnel. He was a sailor in the Indian Navy. So I've never seen him in uniform, but he had strong ethics principles, which has definitely inspired me in quite a lot of way. And I think I have always looked up to him. And I studied in a convent school. I did my schooling from there, and I did my college education from a co-ed college. And I got maybe the teens or whatever it is. My studies dipped a bit, which affected my self-confidence. And I wanted to explore something. I had taken a graduation in science, and in between I found my interest in computers, and I decided to move out of my town to explore new areas. And I came to Pune, and I did my master's in computer management from there. At that time itself, entrance and all those things were existing. And the moment I passed out of my master's, while I was doing my final year, the movie called Border came. And I still remember my parents were also there. And I still remember having watched that movie, and I was very, very inspired by that movie, the courage, the patriotism, the bravery, all those things. And I still remember having discussed with my father about that. And I applied at that particular point of time, women were being taken in the Short Service Commission. And when the advertisement came in the newspaper, I applied. And immediately after I finished my PG, I got selected in the Navy, but my plans were, I had not decided for the Navy, and my plans were to go for higher education to the United States. And because I never felt that I could, match with the thought process of people here, I just wanted to migrate somehow. But my father, I realized that he wanted, in fact, he wanted my brother to join the forces, but I was the one who got selected, and he told me that he would like me to join. So I decided that that would be the best option for me at that particular point of time. And also there was a severe recession that was going on at that particular point of time. That was in 1999. And I joined Indian Navy on 4th Jan. I did wherever and the best part of it, my first posting was from where my father retired as a sailor. And I was the first lady officer to be posted there. And also I was a staff officer. And I was a junior most, and I was surrounded by all male officers, but my commanding officer gave me a lot of respect and taught me the job. And in few months time, I got transferred to the Western Fleet. And I was the first IT officer in the Western Fleet as a woman officer also, and the sub-lieutenant. And I had all senior officers, but I found some fantastic mentors there who mentored me throughout my naval career, and even now they are doing so.
Wonderful.
And then I got posted to Cochin, and I came to my parent training unit, that is Naval Institute of Education and Training Technology, where we were told to train others. And that is where, and the first subject that was given to me to teach was physics. And I still remember studying physics, and it was assigned to me, and I had completely lost touch with physics. And my I forgot, in between I got married, and my husband is an electrical engineer. He's in the electrical branch of the Indian Navy. He's still serving, and he has been quite supportive, and he was 6 years senior to me, and I always considered him as a senior. That respect part was always there, and it changed gradually only when we got married. And he was the one who helped me with the physics, learning the physics. And I still remember thermodynamics and all those things before taking the class, studying and going and teaching. That was very interesting. But I realized that I have a real passion for that, because my students could connect to me very well. And as a reward, I always used to tell them stories, because I was always interested in stories as a child. I used to read a lot of stories, especially mythology and all these, Ranis and all these things. I was always enchanted by warriors and ladies, who were bravery and all these things. And then I started my journey in between, while I was in the Navy. When I was I was having my first child, I suffered clinical depression. And I was on medication for almost 2002 to 2006. I was on medication. I had a lot of issues with relationships and work, and I was not able to manage. But thankfully, I was also a spiritual person right from my childhood. But somewhere in between, I diverted and went off. And this depression was a major milestone in my life, where I got back to myself. And it made me start to explore as to why it happened and that is when I understood about the mind, and I continued learning about it. And I did a course, Masters in Counseling and Psychotherapy, to understand about the course about the mind. And also I did my, then I was posted in Center for Leadership and Behavioral Training, where I started taking courses in counseling. And also I picked up one fine day, my commanding officer told she's going to take a class in transaction analysis. And again, I started my learning process, lot of hard work. And then I went and underwent TA 101. I started getting seriously into it, and I loved it so much. And I used to take transaction analysis for officers who were senior to me, like colonels and all. I used to take them, and they used to love me a lot. And I could connect, and I think that is a gift God has given me. So, and I really enjoyed that tenure. And after that, after finishing 7 years, I felt that we had a lot of issues, in the sense like my husband and I used to get to be on duty together. and my son was very small. So I decided to leave Navy, and I came out of Navy in 2006 after finishing my 7 years of commission. And after a few months, I joined private sector in the IT sector. I was working as project manager, and wherever I have wherever I have joined in organizations, I've always tried to make sure that my team has good cohesion, and I have always made sure that people gel well together. And my relationship with my people, my team members, are very important for me. So that was the first thing which I always worked on. And thankfully, with God's grace, I've always had good people around me, and I really enjoyed that tenure. I was project manager of network administration and testing. Then again, because of my husband's transfer, I moved out, and I joined as a faculty of soft skills in Bangalore Management Academy, where I used to teach soft skills to students of MBA and finance and banking. And that was also a very, very interesting period. And I still have students who are in touch with me and who are in senior positions now. Even though it was for a very short period of time, I really enjoyed. And I used to be, the management people used to be called me as agony aunt, because students used to come and, they had a lot of issues. So I really enjoyed the tenure. And after that, I joined in 2000. I had my second child and joined Sainik Welfare Officer in 2010. My main again, my father has been a deciding factor for that. He told me that it is time for you to now serve back your community, and whichever small way I could, I have done my the best possible I could for my people. And in 2017, my son was in 10th standard, where I felt, and he was not doing well in his studies, so I felt that now I have to give him, I have to make him the priority, and I stepped down from my job. And with God's grace, he did well in his 10th also, 12th also. Now he's doing a second year of PCA in Christ University. And that continued. And in 2017 to 2021, I took a break in my career. And 2021 only, I think in February or March. I know Archana ma'am from 2007 or 8. I still, in between, she was the one who suggested me to do the diploma in training and development. She was the one who guided in Site HR. I still remember her, the guidance. And I asked ma'am for, I was looking for a job. Last year, I had an ACL tear and I had to take a break. And so once I was back in 2021, February, March, I started looking for a job, and I asked ma'am, and she was the one who told me that this is a course existing. And I'm very thankful to her that I had an opportunity to learn from her, and which I was always looking forward to meeting her. And I'm so happy that she came as my guru itself. And now in September 2021, I had an opportunity. There was a veterans run for by Wells Fargo, and I got selected as business risk associate. Even though I'm starting again, restarting my career, I'm really enjoying my tenure there. A lot of training, and all the people who are there, all my colleagues are less than 30 years, but they are doing a wonderful job. And by training me and not getting angry at all, because I'm not from that background. But it's a very interesting job, and I'm really loving it. And the best part, which I liked, is the continuous learning that is there. I think man should never stop learning, and that's how I am right now. That's where I am, and I'm really looking forward to this, this interesting class. And I'm sad it's going to finish. Thank you so much.
Next week. Thank you so much for your beautiful story. Yeah, थोड़ा लंबा हो गया, but we have to learn to cut it down a little bit. Yeah. So would you have time to listen to Satyanarayan ji, right? All of you? 5-6 minutes is the last one, right? So let's do it quickly.
Yeah, I'll finish in very short time. Thanks.
Yeah.
Good evening, team. Myself Satyanarayan. I basically come from a very simple family with my one brother and two sisters. Like during childhood, I was like little bit more into like playing with electronic or appliances kind of thing. If anything goes wrong, I try to repair. I try to do such kind of thing. Even one of the time, like my TV, our home TV, like it had got some issue. It was not displaying. I had opened the TV without any knowledge. I had a zero knowledge because I was just a student of 10th, 8th, 9th, 10th. I don't recollect. So I just opened, and with the tester I tried to figure out what was the wrong thing. Suddenly a shot had come. Like everybody started looking at me like as if something has gone wrong. But somehow I tried like figure outing the figure wire cable, and somehow it got on. The TV got on, so everybody was happy. Like, so that was, I had some interest in like repairing kind of things. So as I grown up, like I got an opportunity into the engineering, like diploma engineering production, wherein this was like I was in engineering. Previously people used to consider like civil engineering is the only engineering department. I was not aware. Only there are some other fields also, so I got into this. So after completion of my education, like I got my first job in one of multinational company, US multinational company. They are the world leaders in film manufacturing. You might have heard the name Kodak. They are the manufacturer of films, cameras, moving picture,
Correct.
X-rays, industrial X-rays, all. Wherein I was one of the junior engineers selected, and we had a good manufacturing unit, and everything was going fine. But one day, like it was a decision like by the organization, like because of digitalization, this fall film things went off, like so
Correct.
organization decided to close down some of the part organization, wherein the again new journey started. Then I had to look out for new job. Like again, luckily I got opportunity in one of the multinational company. They are also world leader in antenna manufacturing. This is the telecommunication antenna manufacturing, wherein I was selected to start from the scratch of this new business unit. They were coming up in this industrial area in Goa, actually. So I was the only one quality engineer for supporting this area, wherein I had set up each and every system from scratch, like even like IPQC, in process quality check, final quality check, and the testing, final inspection, and the tear down inspection. These were the some of the tools what I've introduced, and these were the eyes of my, like they were the eyes for me, like to ensure that there is no failure in the quality system and a good product going to the customer. This is what I had set up. This was one of the good, like everybody recognized. And even when we go to there was someone customer complaint, wherein I personally had to go visit the customer, which was almost located in Lucknow, that side. So when we try to analyze the thing, what we found, there was a issue in the installation process at the customer end itself. Like they were like hiring like casual laborers and try to install the our antennas, and they consider this antenna as like a hardware. It is not. It is a very sophisticated device, like where it radiates telecommunication signals to mobile to mobile. So
Correct.
like they were like mishandling it, like. And then what we like, I decided like a training program for the customer also. So with that, like customer also got trained, like they were also try to understand like the right installation process. So this is how like I try to manage the customer. And also even there were like some supplier issues, wherein any supplier new material comes. Okay, we need to have a first inspection, supplier material and data sheet, everything we need to collect. But there were procedures, they were like splitted in different procedures. It was not a combined procedure actually. So like supplier quality, whenever they come, like, whatever the supplier gives, they consider that as okay, and they used to close the thing as acceptable and keep it. But there were a number of procedures where they were not linked. So there was one of the issue related to the supplier material, which was accepted without reviewing all the requirements. Then when we try to understand in detail, that people were not referring all the standards. So what I decided to combine all the procedures into one check sheet. And anytime a material comes into the plant, they need to ensure each and every of the check sheet is verified, confirmed, then only accept the product. This is what
Great.
I had introduced immediately. Like it is like implemented globally everywhere. It is not only in India, but it was also introduced in China and the US also. They have accepted this form and they have
Wonderful.
implemented it. This is what thing I done, and I was appreciated also for that thing. And due to some personal reason, I had to move out of the organization to Bangalore. Basically, this organization was in Goa. Because of some personal reason, I had to move out to Bangalore. Luckily, I did not know of that organization, but somehow they found my resume from where I don't know. They called me during that process of interview. In fact, what was the thing, like they wanted to introduce a new product, same thing, base station antenna, as they had acquired a few companies in Mexico and Spain, and they wanted to bring that product to India. And from India, they wanted to do 100% export oriented. So that's why they found me and taken me, because I was on the same field, like, and even I had started from the scratch of these products. So they hired me, and that is how I had moved to Bangalore. From Bangalore, like initially I had implemented all these processes, whatever required, whatever I had implemented in my organization, same thing was replicated over there. But similarly, there was one more requirement which was coming to the organization, was the AS standard, AS certification, wherein we wanted to sell our product to the defense organization, aerospace standard organization. That's why, like, the time frame was very less, like it was almost like 6 months they wanted, because they were supposed to be have a good order coming out. So I was like involved into like getting that certification from the scratch, because it was only 6 months, nobody was aware anything. Like we had taken help of consultancy initially, but implementation and all the procedure creation all has been done like within 6 months. Then like people were telling us will not get this so easily, because it is very tough. Because previously also they ensured simple ISO certification, they took almost more than 1 year, and afterwards also, that is also after repetition of validation. So here, like within like 6 months we got opportunity, like we got the certificate. The HR was like a colonel actually, was one of the HR. He really appreciated. So like put a mail to everybody saying that within so quick time it was been achieved. He was like never imagined from his side, he was telling. So that was one of the good thing. But unfortunately, the company, due to XYZ reason, it has to close down because of financial, because they have acquired two companies in Spain and Mexico, and again they had acquired one more organization in England. Actually, that has made them somewhat issue. That's why they had to close down that. So there was 1 year gap wherein I had no job actually. So yeah, during that time also, my wife was like having second pregnancy. So I thought like running after job, I will just try to support, and I was little bit a part of that family. Like, so it took the time, but once again, one of my colleague or the previous organization, they referred me to one of the organization again in Goa. So I interviewed, I was selected. Again, I came back to Goa. And immediately when I was in Goa in other company, my previous company, that is the telecommunication company, again, they called me back into their organization, which is, again, right now I'm there.
Very good. Wonderful.
Organization. Yeah. Thanks, team.
Very good. Very good. So see, such a beautiful way of learning so many different journeys at one place, right? So it's a wonderful way. So storytelling is really, really a good and different way of sharing your stories and experiences at one point in time. I feel obliged to have been a teacher to all of you. That's really giving me a lot of pride and glory at this point in time, right? I'm feeling really happy about it. All right, so with this, let's close the class. It's already half an hour more than what we generally have the class for, right? One assignment I want to give you, and that would be the last assignment for the entire class period that we had with each other. So this last assignment now is on the storytelling itself, that you have to cut short your story that you have shared today in less than 5 minutes of time and share that story. Create a video and share that stories on WhatsApp or maybe on email. Correct? So will you be able to do it? And please do it on time before Saturday. Friday is the date. Many of you are taking too much of time in submission of assignments. It makes my job very difficult to give you numbers, because we are planning to give you grades on the basis of your assignments and how you have done in the classes also. So that portion is actually making it very difficult for us to give you marks. Right? So just do your assignments regularly, and this is the last assignment, so do it as best as you can. Next class, I think we'll just have test, and that's it.
So
Any other
one thing,
questions you have?
yeah, one thing, ma'am, during this storytelling, what I see, like, should we stick to more of like professional if we are going to an interview, try to focus on that area?
See, let's
Or in
continue.
general, should we go?
We do it for interview only, right? Because we are practicing how to clear interview. So we will just concentrate on that particular part. Why I did not share my story in that way is because obviously I'm not really preparing for an interview. But to give you a gist, you have to prepare your life story when somebody asks you this question. So what is your story, Satyanarayan? Right? If I am an interviewer and I'm asking you this question, so your story should talk about the highlights that you have got through. Right? And difficult times that you have gone through. There can be some part of personal life, but as I said, you need to talk about your ability, skills, and knowledge. Right? That's what you can highlight. Right?
That's why I try to like put like
absolutely yours is good. It's just that we are, see, it's our first time and for everybody. That's the reason why I did not stop anybody. But the entire way of telling a story should be shorter, right? So that the interest of the audience is there. Right? Try and bring in some 1 or 2 lines of humor or quotes or something so that it really brings the best of you out of it.
Okay.
Yeah. Neeru, you wanted to ask something? You were raising hand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, I want to say, ma'am, that we are obliged to have a mentor and a teacher like you. You are so expressive, like inspirational stories are always there.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
So we are obliged to have a mentor like you.
It's a mutual feeling. It's a completely mutual. Trust me.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, really, ma'am. Thanks for all your support, ma'am. Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am.
Let's meet on next Saturday. Yeah.
Ma'am, next Saturday I will be not there. There was a marriage in my home.
That would be last class. Saturday we have last class and Sunday we have exam. So they close.
Okay, I will check on YouTube.
Okay, sure. All right.
Yeah, okay.
All the best, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thanks. Yeah.